Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast for a thriving business and life. And we are live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And you can hear the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And today, the episode, we continue with our soul-led series. And today, we are going to be talking about aligning strategy with your soul so it actually works for you. And we're going to be talking about why strategy that others do may not and probably won't work for you when it's not aligned for your life and your business. And we're going to talk about the difference between forced action and soul-led action so that you can find that alignment that creates more flow, consistency, and results, and how to create aligned strategies for your goals, your relationship, career, your business, and your personal growth. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to continue where we left off in last week's episode, because there was a little process that I wanted to do with you. And let's start the show with that process. So everybody, now, first of all, if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, please do not do this. You can come back to the podcast or the YouTube or the video at a later time. If you are in a comfortable, safe place where you can close your eyes and relax for a few minutes, then this is for you now. And remember, you can always come back whenever you need it, whether you're doing it now live or later. Okay, so first of all, what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes and breathe and take a deep breath in. And breathe in and imagine you breathing in light. Maybe it's bright white light, or maybe it's golden light, allowing yourself to feel yourself breathing in the light. And then letting go and releasing any stress, any tension, any worries and concerns from the day. And take another deep breath in, breathing in the light. And on the out breath, letting go and releasing any stress, any tension, any worries and concerns. And one more time, take another deep breath in, breathing in the light. And on the out breath, letting go and releasing any stress, any tension. And I want you to now feel your heart. You may even want to put your hand on your heart and breathe into your heart. And I'm going to ask you some questions. Now, last week, we were talking about being in alignment. and really having that soul-led clarity. And so I want you to tune in and ask yourself, remember your heart is where your soul guides you. And ask yourself, what area of my life feels most out of alignment right now? And just take a few moments and tune in to what area of your life feels most out of alignment right now. And trust your first thoughts, feelings, impressions. And breathe. And now I'm going to ask, and remember, this is about getting the clarity that you seek. What truth have I been ignoring? And really allow yourself, whatever pops in, what truth have I been ignoring? And breathe. And now, what would my life look like? What would my life look like if I trusted myself more deeply? And I really want you to begin to imagine what it would be like for you to trust yourself more deeply. What would your life look like if you trusted yourself more deeply? And notice what comes up. And this is not about forcing it, but about allowing it. And breathe into that, trusting your first thoughts, feelings, impressions. And you may get answers coming from your heart. You may hear words, or you may feel feelings or senses, or you may get knowings. That's your intuition coming through, guiding you, like having your soul guide you. Your soul guides you through your intuition. And so really breathe into that. And if anybody would like to share how that was for them, or if any questions came up for them as they were doing that, for those of you that are listening live or viewing live. And now, what happens when you follow soul-led clarity? So what happens in your life when you allow yourself to be soul-led and you have that soul-led clarity? You'll notice that you feel more peaceful and you breathe easier. When you're following that soul-led clarity, you have more confidence in yourself. You know you're on the right path. You can feel it. You sense it. You know it. And when you have that soul-led clarity, you make those decisions from that place of intuition, being guided by your soul. And what happens ultimately is you have more fulfillment. You feel more fulfilled in your life because you're taking and following. And remember, this is step by step. It's not knowing the whole plan. It's about doing the next right action. And in your business, you get more clarity about your niche. You get a stronger message of what you need to say to those that really need you. You attract more aligned clients because they feel you, they get you, they say, oh, she understands me. And you have more sustainable growth. And clarity creates that momentum. And alignment creates that transformation. That's what this is about. It's about that transformation. And so we have a question from Misty. So Misty says, that was a bit different. I was trying to get in touch with things, but I am distracted by foolishness going on at the moment. So, Misty, I have a question for you. Was the distraction by foolishness, was it your thoughts? Like you kept popping and having thoughts that felt foolish, or was it outside of you, like the kids or things happening outside in your environment? So just wondering what you meant by the foolishness. Now, not to say that the family environment is foolish, but sometimes when you're trying to take your alone time, and this is for all of you, no, it's a situation going on. Okay, thank you, Misty. Okay. So I hear that there's a situation going on, and that can bring you out of yourself. And it was hard to go in and really tune in. And I want you to know, Misty, and all of you that are having situations that are going on that may distract you from taking that time for you to go inward and to be with yourself. What if you said to yourself, or you asked for help from, you can ask from your soul or your guides. I'm going to imagine putting this situation on the back burner. Doesn't mean it's going away, but in these 5 minutes, I'm giving myself these 5 minutes, or I'm giving myself these 10 minutes. In this situation, it was like really 5 minutes. So what if you allowed yourself to give those 5 minutes for you? And you could ask for help from your guides and angels and your soul. So I just want to support you. That's a possibility. And maybe, sometimes it can help. Listen, I know from my own experience, sometimes that can really help, and it can help you go into that space. And sometimes it doesn't. And it's what I want to support all of you is, it's about finding what can work for you in the situation, in the moment. Is there something that you could do that could bring you back into a quietness with yourself? And we're going to go into strategy, and we're going to talk more about that. So I'm hoping, Misty, that helps a little bit. And remember, you can always go back to this on the podcast or the YouTube. So luckily, we're being recorded forevermore. All right. So let's talk about, so what if you started questioning yourself, and you are looking around and you're watching a certain strategy that's happening for others. And it may be a strategy in life, helping someone get to peace, or it may be a strategy in your business, like, oh, they're going online and they're getting all these views on social media or whatever, but it's not happening for you. And you think to yourself, what's going on? Is something wrong? Why is this strategy not working for me? And it may leave you feeling exhausted or disconnected or overwhelmed. Well, what I want you to know is that the strategy itself isn't the problem. It's when you're not aligned. When you're not aligned with yourself, when you're not aligned with your soul, and you're using other people's strategies to try to make things work in your business, in your life, it doesn't. It doesn't. And so, there are people that maybe you're following a strategy that doesn't fit your personality, or it doesn't fit your values. And, we talked about values and how important values are. If the strategy is out of alignment with your values, you don't want to use it. But you need to be clear what your values are. That's one of the first exercises that I do with the women that I work with is we work on core values, because your core values are essential to help you in your life and in your business. And what happens if you're following strategies that are misaligned with your energy or your vision, they're not going to work. And so, like, for example, it's marketing in ways that feel draining, or saying yes to things that are not in alignment with you, or that don't align, like they're out of your values. It's not feeling right. And I really want to support you. If something is not feeling right in your life, in your business, please trust that, because that's your guidance saying, this feels off. This is wrong. It's not working for me. And so if you're trying to build your life or your business based on pressure instead of your internal truth, your soul's truth, instead of what your heart is saying, it's not going to work for you. And so just because it works for someone else doesn't mean that it's aligned for and with you. So Anastasia says, I found it to help relax. Yay, Anastasia, I'm glad that was helpful for you to relax. And that's what I want. I want to support all of you in going inward and relaxing and helping and using wherever you are. And Misty, hopefully my voice can help you relax. And all of you, wherever you are listening or viewing, let my voice be a tool for relaxation and guidance, and really connecting with who you are, and allowing yourself to connect more with who you are. And so let's talk a little bit about forced action versus soul-led action. So forced action is really what happens when you're coming from that place of fear, when you're feeling that pressure, or you're comparing yourself to other people, or you're trying to prove yourself, and you are forcing and you are pushing and you're trying to make it happen. And that's forced action. And that's not what you want. Because what happens when you're trying to force action, it will feel heavy. It will feel draining. And what happens is it creates burnout. It creates inconsistent results, whether it's your life or your business. And so it's going to be really important for you to get into the soul-led action. So, what's soul-led action? Soul-led action is coming from that inner alignment. Remember I said about your heart? It's tuning into your heart, breathing into your heart, and allowing yourself, like when I'm working with my groups of women, and I ground, and I do the grounding where you allow that light to go all the way down through your body, down your legs, your feet, down to the center of the earth. And you can imagine yourself connected with the earth. And you breathe into your heart. And it's coming from that place of alignment. It's coming from that place of inner knowing. And what happens is it soul-led action feels more sustainable. It's more natural. There's a flow to it. It feels right. It feels good. It feels aligned. And what can happen when you're in that soul-led action, you can start creating that momentum because you're feeling the clarity, because you're coming from that soul space, and you take that direction step by step, bit by bit, piece by piece. And what happens is, it doesn't mean you're doing everything all at once. It's step by step, and every step you take creates the clarity, it creates the momentum, it creates the inspired action. And so you are moving towards that soul-led success. And your soul wants you to know that when you are following your soul's actions, that guidance coming from your heart, from your intuition, that your soul is grateful and proud of you, that you're doing it and that you're following it. And if you're not sure, take a breath and go back into your heart and ask, is this in alignment with me? Is this strategy? Is this decision? Is this step in alignment with my truth, my inner truth? Just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean it's right for you. So it's going back to you and tuning into you and seeing, is this right for me? And breathe that in and feel into it. And what's going to happen is, it's going to feel right. Now, what I also want you to know is that aligned action, that inspired action, when you feel it and it feels right, it doesn't mean that that'll always be easy. And it doesn't mean that you may not have fear, but you're not letting the fear stop you from taking the aligned action. So, but it feels right and it feels true. So, like, I'll give you an example. So I remember when I first started this, even when I went on YouTube and I started doing the TV show. For a while, I was just doing the radio show. And I was like, okay, the radio show, I could do it. That's easy. But it was more of a challenge for me to start doing the video and being on YouTube weekly. But I knew that it was the way I'm getting the chills. So I'm having confirmation as I share this story with you. I knew that my guidance was, my soul was saying, you need to do this. But my fear, that child or the ego inside of me was like, I'm scared. I don't know. Can I do it? And so what happened was, I took the chance. I took the risk because I knew, even though it may not have been the easier way to do it, I knew it was what I was being guided. It was what I was being called to do. And I did it. And now I'm doing it. So and what happens is, I really want you to know this. So whether it's posting on social media for your business, or speaking your truth to a loved one, or to someone in your business that you need to speak your truth to, it may feel really scary at first. But if you're doing it in a way that's healthy and appropriate, but you know that you need to do it, after you do it, you'll feel a relief. You'll feel like, and hopefully the other person is receptive, and then you can actually have the energy shift between you so that there's more healing. If it's a personal relationship, if it's a business relationship, it may help the business move. So you never know what will happen when you're being guided to speak your truth. That's a powerful example of what may not feel easy, but you know that it's a truth you need to speak. So, very important. Speaking the truth. So, creating those aligned strategies for your life and your business. So, what I want to support you is asking yourself again, breathing into your heart, breathing into your heart. And you know what? I love putting my hands on my heart. They actually say that something happens in the body. There's like a chemical reaction that happens when you put your hand on your heart. And so it can help you right away in the moment. Try it. I'd love to hear. Let me know. So put your hand on your heart and breathe. And I want you to ask these questions. When there's something you're thinking about doing, some kind of strategy, whether it's your business or whether it's your life, ask, does this strategy, does this align with me? Does this feel right for me? Does this feel authentic? Remember, you want to be authentic, authentically you. Does it feel authentic to you? And ask, does this create the life? Does this support the life I want to create? And breathe into that. So when you're thinking about some kind of strategy, some kind of thing to help you in your life or your business, and you want to make sure that you're tuning in around your business, around if you're in a job, in your career, are you on the right path? In your relationships, in your visibility. And you want to find, what do you need to do to align with your health and your well-being? And what do you need to do to align with your personal growth? Asking yourself these questions like, what is aligned with me? Does this support the life I want to create? And does this feel authentic and even sustainable to me? Ask yourself those questions in those areas of your life. So in your business, it could mean choosing visibility methods that align with your personality. So some of you may be speakers and you love to speak. So you may want to speak online. You may want to speak in person. In-person events are powerful, workshops. And you want to create a business that aligns with your lifestyle. For your life, and here's the thing, and this next one, boundaries is everywhere. It's your personal boundaries and relationships and your professional boundaries. You need boundaries everywhere in your life and in your business. Essential. Boundaries are essential for self-care. And you want to make your decisions from that place of alignment. What I want to support you in doing is making the decision coming from that place of making a choice to follow what feels in alignment, what feels like you're in this flow, you're moving towards this a vision or a goal that feels beautiful and wonderful and joyful for you. And if you're not sure what that is, then that's where the clarity comes in. It's about taking that time alone to know what it is, whether it's your life or your business. Getting that clarity is huge. And so you want to make those decisions from a place of alignment, not from fear. Please, please, please don't make decisions from fear. And if you're not sure because you're living in fear, then I'm going to support you in asking your soul, asking your higher self, asking the angels and the guides in the universe to give you clear signs that will guide you and help you to be able to guide you to the best decision for your highest and greatest good. And if you're needing help in your life or in your business, and in with clarity or with strategy or alignment, I'm offering a session for you. And it's what you're going to go to is inspiredandempoweredliving.com, the name of the show, inspiredandempoweredliving.com /session. Can't get easier than that. inspiredandempoweredliving.com /session. So if you would like to meet with me and talk with me how to move through what you need to move through, to get clarity, to get alignment, to get connection, and to help you with strategy in your life and in your business around your mindset or moving forward in your business, definitely go to inspiredandempoweredliving.com /session. And Rebels put it in the chat, and I look forward to connecting with you. So, continuing onward. And what I want to support you in is to ask yourself, again, breathe, tuning in. Remember breathing and tuning into your heart, which is your soul, tuning into your heart and soul. And ask yourself, where in my life am I forcing instead of aligning? Where in my life am I forcing instead of aligning? And if you can't get the answers, remember, you can always go back to YouTube, to the podcast, and get it at a later time if you need to come back. So take a breath, everybody, and breathe and ask again, where in my life am I forcing instead of aligning? And breathe. And then ask yourself, what strategy or what approach are you using now in your life or in your business that no longer feels true for you? Because not only can you be doing all those things that other people, but you may still be doing the same things you've always done and thinking that you're still in alignment with it. And then all of a sudden you realize, you know what? It's not feeling true for me anymore. It doesn't feel aligned for me anymore. And so you may need a course correction. And so that's why it's important to keep tuning inward and asking yourself, is there a strategy or approach that I've been using that no longer feels true for me? It no longer feels aligned for me. And breathe. And now ask, what would feel more natural, more peaceful, and more aligned? What would feel more natural, more peaceful, and more aligned. And breathe. Just tuning in. And also, I want you to know you can always go back to the podcast or the TV show. And what the great thing when you're not listening live is you can pause it if you need to pause it in between. So, just another thought. So, what happens when strategy aligns with your soul? So, what does that look like and feel like? What happens for you? Well, what happens is when you're in that alignment and your strategy, you're in alignment and you're taking the strategies that you're being guided to by your soul, you're going to feel more energized. You'll feel more energized. You start trusting yourself more deeply. You start trusting yourself more deeply. And you learn to create greater consistency. So, whatever you're doing, whether it's in your life or in your business, you're in that flow of consistency. And what will happen is that you will then feel more flow and more fulfillment in your life. And in your business, you'll have a stronger message. You'll attract more aligned clients. I call them soul aligned clients. And you'll create sustainable income growth. Now, in your life, what ends up happening is you start feeling more peaceful. That no matter what's happening around you, no matter what situation is going on, you can tune in and breathe and tune into that place within you. And you start feeling more peaceful. You have better boundaries. Remember, I talked about boundaries in your personal life, in your professional life. We need boundaries, and you have better boundaries when you're aligned with your soul. And you create greater clarity and confidence. And so you can feel that clarity, you can feel that confidence. And so what happens is when strategy aligns with your soul, your life and your business, there's that energy of flow, and you're working like it's going, like imagine you're going down this river, and you're going down the river, you're going down the stream. And so let's say you're on a boat or and you're on the boat and you don't have to paddle. If you try paddling back, it's really hard. But if you go with that flow, that stream, it's just easier in there. You do not want to be going upstream. Not listening to your soul is like trying to go up the stream, and you're fighting and you're forcing, and it's hard work. And then you get tired, exhausted, or burnt out. So when you're in that flow, when you're going downstream, down the river, and so that's what happens. Now, we're already, I can't believe, in the Soul-Led series, Soul-Led Success series, we're already going to be in episode 6. And we're going to be doing that episode live in a couple of weeks. Okay, next week will be a replay. So it'll be a replay surprise when you listen in. And in 2 weeks, we'll have episode 6. And that is going to be expanding your capacity to receive more in your life and in your business. And your ability to receive, and we're talking receiving, we're talking about receiving love, receiving joy, receiving money, receiving in every way. So you want to be expanding your capacity to receive. And so many of you may be working hard, giving constantly, and still feeling like you're not allowing yourself to fully receive the support, the opportunities, the clients, the money, the love, the success. And we're going to go deeper into exploring how worthiness, receiving, may be blocking you from allowing more in your life. And you don't need to force your way forward. You need to find strategies that honor who you are. Remember, connecting with your heart and soul. And so, Mickey says the series is coming along well. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. And so like I said, a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be doing episode 6. And what I want to support you is if any of you are really looking for more clarity, more alignment, better strategy, more connection with yourself so that you can have the clarity, alignment, fulfillment, and more peace and joy, you want to book a session. And you go to inspiredandempoweredliving.com/session. Inspired and Empowered Living, the name of the show.com/session. And I look forward to connecting with you more. And Anastasia says, hard to see things clearly at times. Yes, and that's why you need support. I mean, I love helping my clients because we don't always see things clearly. I need help. I go to my support people. We all need support. I just want to support all of you. Support all of you in getting the support that you need, not only in the podcast. I'm glad you're tuning in to get support from me, but also getting support in your life. And if you feel like you need extra, definitely book a session. And I really look forward to connecting with you more in a couple of weeks. So we are live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, my YouTube channel. And you can find the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And I look forward to connecting with you more. And I wish you an inspired and empowered day, night, and week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.